What's happening, everybody? Ramdean and Black with you here at Playdead in downtown Toronto as we are anticipating the UFC's return to Buffalo, New York. We know the main event, Daniel Cormier, Anthony Rumble Johnson for the light heavyweight championship of the world. But I think, for my money, one of the coolest fights going, one of my favorite martial artists, two of my favorite martial artists, Gegard Mousasi, the former Strikeforce champion, the well-traveled, super ice-cold, professional mixed martial artist taking on the former middleweight champion, Chris Weidman. Why is this must-see TV if you are a fan of mixed martial arts?
This is everything. This fight is everything. It has everything. The matchup of the two guys is on such a high level, and they're really, really different. They're both hyper-modern. They're the future. They have changed the game. They changed the way they look at the game. Chris Weidman now, way better than Chris Weidman before. And Mousasi's been evolving since he was a teenager. And the way they match up is something very special. And we're starting to now get into these fights where guys are changing so much, and they are all taking on these different attributes and qualities that it's starting to become even hard to picture the dynamic of these fights, and that's exciting.
One of the things that we've learned about Chris Weidman, because we've had the opportunity to hang out with him over the last number of years a few times, and we all know that he's ridiculously talented physically. We know that he puts the time in when it comes to work ethic. He's at the top of the food chain. His mental state is where it needs to be, but there's something that when he gets into performance mode, there's some sort of blockage there that even though he looked great in that fight with Yoel Romero and looked great in the fight with Luke Rockhold, there's something that prevents him, that I feel, from being the best version of Chris Weidman.
Yeah, he hasn't been that. Even the Vitor fight, I thought he performed poorly compared to what he is and what he is capable of. If he's in there,
what is he capable of? When you think about his skill set, the fact that he's been in there with the best fighters in the world, he continues to evolve, he surrounds himself with great people. What do you expect the best version of Chris Weidman to be?
I think what the performance you saw against Lyoto Machida is where he is near perfect. And it's not just how he handled Machida and how he executed the plan that he and his coaches had put together. Ray is a really, people don't understand. Yeah, we're big Ray Longo marks over here. When they put it together right, and then Chris expresses it properly, you get a near perfect fight that way. And then his mindset was perfect, that when he faces some obstacles, he moves back towards them, and it almost makes him stronger. And that's where he's at his best. And in both his last two losses, there were one bad moment. In one, it shut him off. Yoel Romero shut him off, and he gave away that hand. Romero kept flashing that leg, and he kept responding in a bit of a shelling up, almost level-changing kind of way.
Which we'd expect, considering what Yoel Romero, the physical specimen, we know how dangerous this guy is, and all it takes is for him 1 second flies through the air and ends your night.
But it's still the wrong reaction. It's a human reaction.
Right.
But it's not the proper martial arts reaction. The proper martial arts reaction, if that really is coming, is backing around or deal with it, stay focused on it and react appropriately. What he was doing is what the rest of us normal mortals would do, which is kind of like, become smaller and
get ready to
shell
deal with
up.
shock.
Interestingly, that's what Gegard did when Uriah Hall threw the spinning kick. His brain wasn't able to identify what was coming, so it had a human reaction, and he kind of dropped down into that kick. It's very interesting. They both had the same reaction in that case. But Weidman, when he's on, is brilliant, and it's his ability to learn in the moment. Heuristic learning. Heuristics are learning through doing. And when he's doing that, I mean, he starts to innovate even in his own game. When he took out Munoz, I have broken it down. I think it's on the web there, but there's a few fascinating details.
Short little elbow
that little elbow when he was manipulating space, and I don't think he could explain it the same way that someone watching it could explain it about what he did.
Because he was just doing it in real time.
Exactly. He was just heuristically learning. The moment was there, and he reacted to the moment with a improvement in real time. That's crazy. It really is. And Mousasi is very much the same thing. And we're getting past the point. We're needing to explore new ideas in how we describe, because the fighters are new and their skills are new and the dynamics are new. So the ways that the tools and language that we've used to describe fighting coming up barely applies. Conflicting how they're going to, comparing and contrasting how they're going to do certain things is barely relevant because they're going to change all of those things in real time. There's a real amazing dynamic that's going on at this level. And it's going to be something very special.
I think when we expect two athletes at this level that have been at the top of the food chain, you would imagine both guys understand their opponents and they're going to make sure when the night comes that they have done all the work necessary. There's no shortcuts. So you're getting the best possible version of each guy. When you think of the best possible version, and let's say this fight, happens 5 times, who's coming out with the victory over those 5 times or 10 times or whatever, the majority of times?
If they are both performing at their best, and Chris is in that situation against Luke, when shit went bad, the wheels fell off the truck. If that doesn't happen, he responds to a little bit of adversity and becomes stronger in the fight. And if we're seeing that out of both guys, you have 5 different outcomes.
Yeah.
You have 2 different winners, 2 or 3 times each.
And a draw.
And a draw. And you have a submission in one, a decision in one. The dynamic is such that on every given night, if there is 1 more hour of sleep or a slight different focus, or the phone rings at a different time during the day, it's altering the makeup of who these humans are when they get into the cage that night. There's a million variables. If you ran this fight 100 times, you would get, let's say, 42 wins for one guy, 46 for another, and a draw and an eye poke. But they would all be different outcomes. They would all be, and that's why these fights are so incredible, because literally every single outcome is possible in it. And it's just a dynamite fight.
A super cool fight at 185 pounds going down on April 8th in Buffalo, New York. Chris Weidman, the former champion, taking on one of our favorites in Gegard, Mousasi.